morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. If anybody who's have a chance watch this podcast, my amazing guest, Ravinder. So we will be talking about a little bit, let's Ravinder share about a little bit his story. Ravinder and me, we met each other, oh my gosh, I don't remember for how long.
I think it's been almost 8-9 years at this point.
8-9
Maybe longer.
years?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time. I think the time passed by sometimes just feel just so fast. I remember before 10 years ago, I couldn't speak really clear English. Even now, I'm still speaking the Chinglish.
Oh no, you're doing great.
So you are, Ravinder, always inspire me with your passions, with your desire. So the whole reason I want to invite you come to here, so is share some inspiration to other people. I know Ravinder is always, I know you speak some place, you always help the youth, right?
Yes,
youth
absolutely.
about how to be more courage, how to be more, how to say, I like you say that. So tell me a little bit about you. I think you will be said better than I introduce you. Tell me a little bit about you, who you are.
Okay, so I'm just a regular old guy at the end of the day. You know, I'm a business owner here in Silicon Valley. I own, along with my partner, 4 UPS stores. And, you know, the UPS store, it's part of me. And when people think of UPS, they think of shipping. But for me, it's so much more. It's not just about business and helping customers. It's really about the effect that we can have on the community. You know, even though we have multiple locations, we're a community-oriented business, and the way we help people is, one, we like to mentor youths that come through and work for us. We really try and stress to them that, you know, this isn't an ending job. This is a stepping point. You're here, you know, the world has brought you here for us to help you move to the next level. And whatever that may be, whether it's the next step of your career or, you know, even spirituality in some cases. And, you know, it's been a great journey. I could say that. And the opportunities that we have to not only help kids, but help the community with different nonprofits, very satisfying.
Thank you, Ravinder. That's what I remember when I first time meet you, and you just have one UPS story. That time you tell me you want to have 10. Now I think the last time I meet you, you said you want to have 30.
That's right. Yes, that's the goal.
So that's just such inspiring. I now, how many you have? 4?
We have 4. Yes.
Yes, in the short time, that's just, I remember when I started, we know 10 years ago, we meet in the networking group, right? So when I started my spa, you started your UPS story, we always hang out together to inspire, talk about our goal. So in the past 10 years, look through how much challenging we are overcome. That is such blast.
I agree. And, you know, the one thing that I've learned is who you surround yourself with is one of the most important choices you make in life. You know, being around people like you and others are inspiring. You know, frankly, I don't want to be around people that don't inspire me, don't push me to go to the next level. And I think that's why we became such good friends, you and I, because we're both highly motivated individuals. We've both taken the bull by the horns, metaphorically, and really tried to make this world better and really affect the people around us in a positive way. And frankly, when you asked me to be on this podcast, I was like, oh, of course, I would love to, because the way we communicate and talk, we're speaking the same language a lot of the times.
Thank you, Ravinder. So I want to introduce a little bit about myself, if you don't know about me. I'm Riya. So I started this podcast is just pretty new. I think I started this for a few months ago, but really I started interview people. That was 3 years ago. I remember when I come to this Silicon Valley, started my business when I have started my first spa, and we meet the Ravinder. We talk about how to inspire people, get the brainstorm, how to help not grow the business. That time then I grew to 1, 2, 3. Then a few years ago, I sold my business, go to this 2, 3 years I call discover myself, discover myself. I want to find out what does we do really make our life is have more joy, more happy, because we know to doing the small business owner is handling a lot of stress, challenging. I see, sometimes I remember when I with you, I was so stressful with my rental or stuff when I expanded so fast on my third spa. I was crying, said how I can handle that. You was there supporting me. I really am grateful about that. And look at you from first UPS, now got the 4th store, then going to your next 10, 30. It's just, I want to tell people who's here. So if you don't give up your dreams, you will be there. And also, like Ravinder said, hang out with people who's lift you up.
So I'm gonna interrupt you there, because I remember when you told me I'm gonna sell the spas, I'm gonna sell all of my earthly possessions, and I'm gonna go to Tibet, and I'm gonna go get in touch more with my spirituality. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, because most people in the world don't take the chance. They don't give themselves the opportunity to discover a new path, because of the fear of leaving the path that they're on, even though it's not what they want, even though it's not the most desirable path or the most beautiful path. Getting on that other path is so scary for people. And I understand that, because I've been there, but you did it. You did it. That's what's inspirational, is saying, you know what, I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to burn whatever bridges behind me, not in a negative way, but meaning I can't turn back. I'm choosing this path, and I'm moving forward with it. And wherever the universe has me end up is where I end up. When you're a hardworking person like yourself, and very motivated to be the best at what you do, you're going to be successful anyways. But it was very inspiring to see somebody just put it all on the line like that, because people just don't do that every day. They would rather be miserable than take a chance at something new. So I appreciate you for that.
Oh, thank you, Ravinder. Yes. Oh, believe me, I go through a lot. I was crying. I was scared. Yes, I remember my daughter was telling me, when I tell my daughter, I said, I decided to sell my business, sell my house, sell everything I own, go to this 2-3 years travel around the world to discover what does happiness, what is the healing. So I remember my daughter was said, oh, mom, you come to America, work so hard, got everything, you sold everything, go to travel. After you spend your money, you will be homeless. I think that is most people's fear. So the future unfolding, you don't know, because we always want to know what is the outcome. So to tap in unknown, it is take a lot of guts but I have a lot of fear at that time also. But I'm just saying, I will do it. I think I want to change my life, because like I said, you know about my story. When I was born, was be sold to another family, go through my self-doubt to self-healing, then to self-empower. Now I introduce people and interview people from all over the world. I want to ask the question is, what you do or what you living? What does happiness meaning to you? By ask that question more often, I bet a lot of people doesn't ask that question more often for themselves. But I want you know, by ask that question more often, it's raising your awareness. So raising awareness about your living. What you do is you are doing things with your passion, with your joy, or you're doing things that bring a lot of stress because you have to do it, because it's the things you used to do it. So the question come back to you, Ravinder. That's what I wanted to ask. I ask people from all over the world with different race, different cultures. Then people inspire me is no one have the same question answers. So what does happiness meaning to you, Ravinder?
So, happiness to me is multifaceted, right? It doesn't come from one place. It's definitely a state of mind. There's outside influences, but being happy when I wake up, when I go to work, when I interact with people, it's a frame of mind versus things that particularly make me happy. Now, that being said, there are things that give me immense joy and make, certain moments that much better. For one, seeing people accomplish things, and kind of like with you, with the putting it all on the line and coming out successful in the end, that makes me happy. When I recently took a trip to Washington, D.C. With my daughter, and she was in this junior leadership program, and she's very shy, and she goes in, but she's smart, and they happened to pick her to do the speech in front of 250 other kids. Wow. And she sent me a video of the speech, and I got to tell you, I'm getting choked up thinking about it right now, but just being so proud of not only her, but the things that I've instilled, and to see that is working, that's success, that's moving forward, and to see her start at point A and go to point B and do it with style, frankly. It was a very proud moment. So definitely my family brings me a lot of happiness. My wife, my son, my work, being able to accomplish things, being able to say, hey, I started at one store and I'm moving here, And you know, that seeing the progress and where we started originally. You know, I when I started my business, I put every dime that I had, every ounce of fear at the time, all my blood, sweat, and tears all went into that business, and to see it thriving and flourish, you know, that brings me happiness. And you know, frankly, just being able to enjoy the fruits of my labor and, you know, sit around and not do anything sometimes. That's fantastic.
I think
I love it.
Ravinder is have a little bit of networking trouble.
Yes.
Your video was stopped.
Oh, but did they hear me? Oh, hello. All right, I'm gonna jump out, jump back in here.
Hi, Ravinder.
All right, we're back.
We're back. So I'm using my phone.
Okay.
Now you see that the things happen sometimes. Oh my gosh, we just talk about this. The internet just shut down. Like I said, probably you just have too much power. My internet. So that is things happens.
Things happen. We roll with it.
Yes. So we'll continue our conversation now. So let me set up a little bit here. So where we are, I was talking about the 96 shutdown with all of this. So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Where we talk about it there.
We were talking about happiness and you know, things that bring you joy in life and whatnot. You know, I don't know where we got cut off, but I'll say this, you know, seeing the accomplishments of others and nothing brings me more happiness than that. You know, one of my, you know, I had mentioned earlier that we try and, you know, mentor people and really help them get to the next stage in life. And, you know, one of the things that makes me most proud and most happy, one of my former employees, I've had lots of employees that have gone on and been successful, but this particular employee, you know, he grew up kind of similar to me in a pretty, you know, rough place in a big city. And, you know, he had, I believe, 12 brothers and sisters and, you know, no father. And when he came to me, he was a film student and he was trying to make his way in life and learn about business. And he allowed me to mentor him and teach him what I knew. And, you know, he came along and then one day he's like, okay, I'm going to be quitting. I'm going to be starting my own business. And I was like, fantastic. You know, anything I can do to help, you know, let me know. So I introduced him to a few people, helped him, you know, maybe get a couple of clients in the beginning and, you know, move along a couple of years. He gets married and beautiful wife and has a daughter. And I hadn't talked to him for a couple of years. And, you know, one day he calls me up and he says, hey, why don't we go have happy hour? You know me well. That's one of my favorite pastimes. Is having some happy hour meetings, and we're having a couple of drinks and some food, and typically I like to pay when we go out. You know, I've always been raised, you know, whoever happens to be doing better at that time, take care of the bill. So I'm going to take care of the bill, and he's like, Ravinder, I got this. Oh, you got this? Okay. And he said, yeah, you know, I wanted to bring you out and tell you that I got this job as chief media officer and they're paying me, you know, I don't want to put people's business out there, but they're paying them real big money to do this. And I got to tell you, I was just so happy for him and just so proud at that moment that this young guy who I met, who when I met him, he was, you know, struggling. He was working for me. He was a student to become this successful executive that is now also trying to give back. And, you know, he thanked me. He thanked me for mentoring him and bringing him along and teaching him a lot of things. So, you know, knowing that I had a little bit to do with that because he, of course, he did all the work and everything else, but it just brings so much happiness and joy to me to know that a little bit of what I said or did had this positive effect on the world. And hopefully, you know, he pays it forward and does the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's always such joy when you find out, when you get the feedback, so someone you teaching and someone was benefits was you teaching and then you mentored, then you do help someone change from the lives, get the in the better space. That is such. I think that is much is a satisfaction, not satisfaction, it's the joy when you start something you're giving, then that your feedback is you receive, they're doing very good as you're giving, they're taking.
Exactly. And you know, there's no greater happiness than being able to give and being able to help people and seeing the fruits of your labor.
Yes, absolutely. That is beautiful, Ravinder. So I know in your life you have you have such giving heart. You're always giving and help the younger people, not just younger people. It's people who are around you. I remember when I have some stress, if I have some challenge, I always come to you to talk to you. We always end up we see, oh, we can overcome with that challenge. That is a beautiful sense. So come back to our happiness. We have so many things make us happy. But here is one thing I want to ask you. Don't you see, don't you know, as students I said, don't you know, how do I phrase in this word? So what do you think between happiness and joy? Is there have different between happiness and joy, or is there same?
You know, I think happiness is a state of mind. I think that you control that yourself. I don't think people or things can make you happy. You know, there's a switch, and I believe, you know, there's a switch in your mind that that gives us the ability to control how we think. And happiness is really how you carry yourself on a daily basis. You can be an unhappy person, right? And be miserable. Whereas joy, it tends to be a moment in time versus happiness, which is the overall frame of mind. You know, things can bring you joy. Seeing your daughter or son accomplish something, or you know, having a great Christmas or holiday or whatever the case may be. All those things can bring you joy, but it can't bring you happiness. Happiness only comes from within.
Sorry. That's beautiful to explain. I think everybody have a different definition of what is happiness, what is joy. For me, oh, sorry, I have some cough just. So for me, I think before I was always wondering what does happiness meaning to me? What is, I didn't realize there was the joy, and maybe I didn't aware that. So I just keep doing because I'm so focused on what I want to get, the overcome, the outcome, what I want to be. So I was thought happiness to me will be successful business. That will be bring more happiness to me. But really, when I got in the some point of my business, then I found out just chasing one thing to another things. You know, for sometimes we can be little bit overachiever. So keep put ourselves in the edge. So I want to have one spa, then I want to have one business. Then after I have one, I want to have two, then I want to have three. I want to keep have grow. I think that time I was basing my happiness with short-term achievements. But really, that doesn't really make me happy. That, you know how I go through with all of this. After I have all of that business, but my health was really go down because with all of the stress, with all the achievement. I really, when I was really sick, that make me think about really, I was thinking, what does really happiness meaning to me? That's how I gave up on my business, my house to go to this trip I go through with 3 months in Tibet, I go through India. In the past 2 years, I've been through like over 30 countries, hundreds cities, really discover what does happiness meaning. So I found out that when I study all of the healing, when I study all of the meditation, when I was, I tell you the story, I was meditating 10 days with the silence, over 10, 15 hours a day in the mountains in Nepal or India, someplace. That moment, I really tap in myself, find out really the joy it is. Happiness is a short term for me, but the joy really is how do I connect my inner self? How do I really accept who I am? I think that is the key. Accept who we are, then to study and to be practiced with that part. So not looking for out external, looking for more internal. So raising more inner peace that bring more joy to me. So everyone have different destination, like have different expression. How do they achieve the happiness and joy? So thank you so much. I can see you joy when you talk about how proud you are as a father. I can see the joy, how much you come when you get the feedback, the people who you was helped, you giving. So that is all, I think, cannot say the external is more is the joy is come your heart with your internal joy. So do you agree with what I say that?
Yeah. I mean, I think probably we use different, we flip-flop the terminology a little bit, but I think that the thought is the same. And I think where you're going with that is it comes from the inside. Material things, all of this stuff can't give you that feeling. It can only come from within, because you could have all the stuff in the world and just be a miserable, joyless, unhappy person.
Thank you, Ravinder. Here is if you use 3 words as the inspiration, as the 3 words as the tips to give the people who's here listening this podcast or watching this podcast. So what is the words can give they to let they think about that tip, how to find their happiness, the joy?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because it's obviously it's different for everyone, right?
Yes.
But I would say that when we start thinking of others before we start thinking of ourselves, it flips a switch. That definitely is something that can help put you on the path. I think I would say the number one thing is taking ownership for your own life and understanding that we control our own destiny, we control our own fate, and we have the power with our mind to create whatever future that we want. And I think when you realize that in life and you understand that outside influences isn't what got you where you are or any of that stuff, that you control the destiny, I think that is the first step to happiness, to enlightenment, to whatever you want to call it, is just take ownership. Don't blame people for your circumstances. Look within and really understand that we are the change that we want to be. We control the change. And to me, that's really understanding that concept is really what put me on the path that I'm on now. because at the end of the day, there's nobody responsible for my happiness and joy except me. My wife's not responsible for that. My kids aren't. My business partner, only me. And there's a certain comfort to that, to know that it's all up to you. And whether you're successful or however you define success, there's nobody else to judge you but you. And these outside influences, whether it's family or whatever, mean very little as long as you're living your best life to make you happy, and being honest with ourselves, being truthful with ourselves and looking in the mirror and saying, this is who I am, or this is who I want to be, and understanding that concept. So those are the big things for me.
That's powerful. Thank you, Ravinder. So let me rephrase the word you said is take responsible for yourself. You have the free will to choose what you want to be and looking within.
Exactly. Always have to look within. Even the healing, I'll tell this story, and this story, I've told you. But I used to suffer from anxiety, and it for years, and it really revolved around things that I have enjoyed doing my entire life, and it got to a point where I was almost paralyzed to do the things that I like to do. And one day, I took a bike ride to your spa, and we had a meditation. It was a group of us, I think maybe 6 or 7, and we were doing a sound meditation. And I had wanted so badly at that time to overcome this anxiety. It was my strongest desire in life. But I didn't necessarily know what to do. I tried all sorts of things. I tried self-hypnosis. I tried, doing what I feared, and which all of those things helped a little bit. And then the thing that put me over the edge was I rode my bike to your spa that day. It was about 3 or 4 miles. And we did the meditation. And if you remember, during that meditation, I started crying uncontrollably. And I don't know what it was, what exactly happened, but I know that that was the one thing that I wanted so bad. And when we just started diving deep, I guess, all this emotion came out. Maybe something I had been carrying on my chest, maybe some fear that had been going on for a long time. And this was probably about 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And I was crying, and then you guys were all kind of comforting me a little bit. And then I rode my bike back home. And I swear I've never had anxiety since that day. And again, I can't say that it was necessarily any one thing, but it was a culmination of moving towards that ultimate goal, and then finding you all was kind of like the push over the edge that I needed. And anxiety will cause unhappiness, and it's kind of like a snowball effect. And if you can get out of it, it's really life-changing. It really is. But it took the effort to get there. I couldn't just say, oh, I suffer from anxiety, so I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to do that. It took work. It took, a couple years to get over it. And I remember that one day in particular because that was the last. I never had it again after that. But all those other days I was putting in the work, facing my fears, everything else, to get there. So thank you for that. I know I told you that in the past, that story, but it really did. It seemed probably not like a big deal to everybody in the room, but for me, it was really life-changing.
Thank you, Ravinder. Thank you for sharing that. I remember at that time I was teaching sound meditation. We have group people there. So you was crying. And some of people maybe never experienced the sound healing or sound meditation. That is the vibration because we body hold a lot of water. Also, when you are when a lot of people you are smart, you are sometimes overachieve. So that's to get across your challenge that take a lot of guts, also a lot of stress. When you hold a lot of stress storing in your body, sometimes you need to release, but you don't know how. That just keep stuck into your body, into your thoughts. The stress can cause a lot of anxiety, the health issues. But the sound healing meditation that day is vibrate that you completely release what the sense hold in your body. That the crying is like that released.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said that is your last meditation with me because after that I sold my business. I was going to this 2-3 years travel.
Yes.
When I come back, you was tell me, you said, "Oh, Riya, I want to share this story with you. I was so blessed and feel so amazing. Thank you for sharing that." I think that is, like you said, a lot of success is not a lot of anxiety. Release is not just say, I want to release that next 10 minutes you can be done, right? Take an effort, take your awareness, take your do. Sometimes when you're so cut off into the work, into the goal you want to be achieved, you gotta carry a lot of stress. Then you need to take time, maybe stop for a minute, meditate, or doing some self-care, like go to some place, get a massage, doing meditation, or talk with good friends, or even listen our podcast, get some tips from Ravinder. So that is the things we talk about. I think the triggers, we all come from different background, all come from different things happening with us, go through different challenging each of us. But there always have the way to out if you're looking the way to out. Yes. If you're aware you need a change when you're so stressed with that. We know, as I learn, when I get a trigger, the trigger will be always there. Doesn't mean the trigger will be gone forever. But the big difference I want to share is how much that trigger stay with you. When something triggered you, when something triggered myself before, maybe take me a years to come out the trigger. But now something triggered me again. I probably take me an hour. I get meditate. I do something. Then I release that trigger. The big difference is how long you can overcome. You can release the trigger. That is all about the healing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Ravinder. So this time is a podcast is for everybody here who want to share your story, who want to learn more about the healing, who wants to be inspired. So you can always contact me, then come to this show, share your stories with everyone here. Thank you, Ravinder. Really appreciate.
Thank you for having me.
More than because the internet sometimes come so interesting. This is the first time I use the phone instead of the computer because, like I said, your positive energy just too powerful. Shut down my computer, shut down my internet. So let's talk with another time. Thank you. Very grateful. Have very honored to have you here. I talk
Thank
with
you.
you soon.
I
Thanks.
appreciate you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, let's do it again sometime.
Thank you.
All right.